Hello everybody, I'm Raphael Perry and it's time for some more King Arthur Knight's Tale. Now this is going to be a slightly different episode to the usual format, but bear with me on this. As you should probably all be aware, I have been struggling with this mission for, well, about 4 months now actually. I was having a very hard time with the final encounter and finding it rather difficult to overcome. Now, I have beaten it off camera, and I'm going to show you roughly how I did it, although I did save afterwards. Now, last time I was having a very hard time. I was struggling, I was facing incredibly powerful adversaries. In fact, why don't we load up that save? As you see, there are a number of new saves here now. I believe it's this one. And behold the situation. So, I will skip the cutscene because many of us have seen it before, and if you have not, that's fine, you'll get to see it later on in the episode. As you can see here, we have a number of adversaries, quite a few in fact, including 4 rather unique and spectacular ones. We have Sir Bruce the Wanton, Sir Categorn the Vengeful, Sir Roderick the Prideful, not proud, and Sir Gueric the Selfish. The rest are nameless generic foes. We have a couple of axemen over here, some crossbows at the back, more axes around the sides and crossbows, you know, it's a mixed group. And this group has been causing me rather a hard time. I'm just going to do a quick volume check everything's okay. And, ooh, I may be competing a bit there. So, I'll switch back to this world map mission. So essentially I would struggle against the 4 foes there. We have the one with the lightning bolt, which has an incredibly high damage output and a fairly short recharge time. We have the poison cloud, which isn't particularly high in damage, but does incapacitate and limit our ability to do things a bit. And then we have the other 2 with their free spinning shields, which will absorb entire blows before winking out of existence. And as I was struggling with the encounter, I thought to myself, why don't I try something ever so slightly different? Why don't I change something up and see what I can do? Maybe Sir Ector isn't the best pick to take. His Fire Blast is good for the area it strikes, but then also Merlin's Fire Drake attack with the direct line could be quite useful. With the Fire Blast and its 3x3 arrangement, I'm generally catching 3 in a line, possibly 1 offset from that. So I'm generally catching 4, maybe 5 people at the most in it. And if I'm catching 3 in a line, this line of 5 here is just as good. So I decided to swap Sir Ector for Sir Merlin. And while I had, well, not Sir, but Merlin the Magician, of course. And when I entered the mission, I accidentally forgot to lower the difficulty setting. Because as you recall on my previous attempt, I had changed the difficulty setting from hard down to moderate. So I went in on hard, taking Merlin with me, and did surprisingly well and actually overcame the entire mission. How did I do that? Well, let's go and take a look. So of great heart, be of great heart, obviously, and a reference to the mission name. Now that's magic. Blatant Paul Daniels reference. I almost called the next save It's Not David McGee, but I thought that was a bit too obscure for some of you. So here we are back in the mission. I regret not having saved in this hallway here, As you no doubt recall from previous episodes, if you've watched them, and if you haven't, by all means go back and do so. In this initial hallway here, we met with the spirit of the deceased priest who guards over this place, and spoke with him. After that, we met Sir Bedivere in an adjacent chamber, well, following chamber really, and then in this hallway here we dealt with a few foes. In this passage, we meet with the spirit once again. And he spoke to us. Now you will recall that in the previous episode, during his conversation, I pointed out one of the conversation options, one of the dialogue options, and said, this doesn't feel right for the kind of way I'm choosing to play this character, I'm not going to click on this. It was a line of conversation that questioned about the undead guardians of this place. This time, with Merlin in the group, I clicked on that option, and the spirit informed me that the most powerful of the undead knights is very vain and very proud, and if I were to defeat him in a duel, he would grant me anything. Anything at all. I had never seen this line of dialogue from the spirit before, but it intrigued me. Now, let us head back up here and rest. There is a encounter in here, but I'm not going to play through it now, because I've got to save where I've completed the mission anyway. So I'm just streamlining this a little bit for you all. At this point, our company are all sorely wounded, and well, no they're not, a few of them are, and in need of rest, so let's do that. We will rest for... most people are good for hit points, but it's what we're resting for this time. Next time, we will rest for armor.
Rest and listen to the world.
There is a shrine
always
here.
Thought me a heartless tyrant, but I always kept the interests of the realm in sight.
And that shrine can be utilized to grant one of our heroes a boost to maximum armor, which we are definitely going to be using. Now, when I enter this chamber here, of course, a number of undead foes, mostly axemen and crossbowmen, will assail us, and a named knight, Sir Roderick, the one the undead priest spoke of, will appear, and he will give us a short speech, which in previous attempts has led to a fight. This time, because I have spoken with the priest about Sir Roderick, it turns into a conversation. And I'd like to show you all what happens next.
Take a look at...
I'm surprised you've gotten this far, but I was carved from tougher wood than my foolish brothers. Any last words, thief?
Now, if I were to take the second option, this is new, right? Normally it would just go straight to the fight. This will go straight to the fight, but I'm going to click on this one instead. I have no quarrel with a faithful knight like you, Sir Roderick.
You are wasting your time. This restless vigil is an atonement for my vanity. I have no choice but to fight. You are wasting your time. This restless vigil is an atonement for my vanity. I have no choice but to fight.
And for some reason he uttered the line twice there. I don't recall that on my previous attempt. We are no thieves. The sacristan grants us permission to enter the sanctum.
That meek friar has no say in this. However,
So now, he's offered us the opportunity for a duel. This is, I believe, the second duel in this playthrough. We had one in Act 1 and this second one in Act 2. They seem to be extremely limited, despite there being a vast array of magical items that grant benefits in a duel. I looked on the forums and apparently duels are extremely rare. There's only about 4 or 5 in the game. So that plethora of items are trap items. They're not as good as they look. Will you leave me and Sir Bedivere alone if I defeat you?
Fair stake. Very well. If you are victorious, my brothers and I won't stand in your way. But you must respect the sanctity of this place.
Very well. I accept this knightly duel.
I've been waiting for this for so long.
And here we go. You will notice now that all the additional foes in this encounter are absent. There used to be an axeman here, another, 2 crossbowmen there, possibly another axeman there who was easy to slay. This one was a bit harder. About 3 crossbowmen here, and I think 1 more axeman back there. So with our 7 action points, I can use 5 on the Thunderbolt, 2 on Stigma, but I'm going to go for Shield Charge to knock him down. His physical debuff resistance is 50, however. Which means he might not be knocked down and might only be knocked back. But if I back away, that will reduce his action points as he comes to me. I'll use a potion. And actually,
Impossible. What kind of witchcraft protects you? I will stay true to my word. You won't see my brothers nor me again. But some of the vassals won't back away from their duty. It has been a while since the living soul visited this chamber.
so Sir Roderick has ordered his men to stand down. But some of the ones who are less in touch with their life, who are more filled with rage and anger, don't have enough sentience or consciousness to accept the message, to understand the order.
We have no time to... The spirits can't keep off.
So, the sacristan will usher us forth into that place. Obviously I'm going to plunder. Very nice rune of staves. And this time we rest for armor. No! Oh, big mistake. Before resting for armor, I will of course visit the shrine that increases maximum armor, because it's a percentage that is restored. For armor we shall require until the end of the next encounter. this power will shield us, warding us from harm, so we do not need to worry about rest removing it. Obviously, I remind you, encounter down there, blatantly did it in the save that we'll actually be going to after this mission.
What do we have here?
The same goes for the treasure in that chamber down there. So now that we're... I almost forgot to rest. Silly me. Let's fix that right now.
Rise and shine, knights!
There we go. So as you can see now, we're in pretty good shape going into the final encounter. So the priest will transport us to this final chamber.
This was unexpected, and yet familiar. Their so-called faith may be rude and fickle, but there is true power in it, especially here in Avalon.
And now we come to that cutscene I promised you would get to see later on in the episode.
The curse is fading. By the gods, the Shade told the truth. But he was mistaken about this relic. This magic is more ancient and powerful than I ever imagined. And the half-wit undead are still craving for salvation. How ironic. By their own terms, this place is anything but sacred.
So as you can see, we still have a combat encounter here. However, it's rather different, isn't it? Look. No knight with thunderbolts. No knight with poison cloud. No knights with the free shields that prove ever so troublesome. In fact, it's only all the minions that remain. And this, dear viewers, is how I was able to overcome this encounter. It feels cheap. It feels like an abuse. It also feels required. I would honestly say this feels like bad mission design. There's a difference between having an easier option and a harder option, and having a easier option and an impossible option. And we were certainly facing what was almost absolutely an impossible option. I would have been able to do it on hard difficulty with those 4 knights present, but I would have lost 2 or 3 of the company, and I would have needed to keep both Sir Mordred and Sir Bedivere alive.
I am here to serve.
So at this point, things are obviously very
Awaiting
different.
your command.
Your Highness?
What is your command?
I am here to serve.
Let's take it easy.
So many offerings.
I am ready.
None can stand in my way.
So...
What?
let's get a little more distance to get Sir Bedivere into a more sneaky position. Now...
What's it gonna be?
As you can see, this almost feels like
I am
abuse.
ready.
Almost, I say.
Awaiting your command.
And let's go hide behind the pillar. Well, the brazier. Truly. Well, he'll perish on his own turn. Now,
Awaiting your command.
will we be revealed? No, we can sneak along here and sneak up to as many crossbowmen as we like.
I am here to serve.
Or just do that.
For my Camelot.
That's actually a slightly better option. Now, problem here.
I am here to serve.
4. Okay, yeah, we're good.
Onwards.
Alright. Why not?
Do you
Now.
need any wise words?
Range 9. That'll do. Excellent. Okay. We can go 2 closer. Throw a mind fog. Even drop an illusion in there as well. Why not? I must say that Merlin's crowd control has proved incredibly useful in this mission.
Fire and steel.
Your Highness.
I am here to serve.
Truly.
Time to feed the ravens.
Well,
Do you need any wise words?
I can take them all.
there we go.
The Guardians have been defeated for now, but they will soon return. Leave our home at once and never return. Your kind has no place here.
There we go. The mission has been
Finally
completed.
free to leave this accursed place. My sword and wisdom are yours, friend.
And that's it. There really is an easy mode that just makes that final encounter practically irrelevant. Let's go back to the world map. as I mentioned, I feel that that is a really bad, cheesy design decision by the developers. Someone was recently asking about it on the game's forums, and I pointed out, speaking to the Ghost, about that thing and what it unlocks. And a number of people, it would seem, had all just done that the first time anyway, and not even discovered how difficult this mission was. And there were a number of others who, like me, had been beating their head against it for many a moon, and were extremely frustrated. Some had even tried to get a refund for the game, you know, and some just weren't going to play it anymore. I'm not going to be quite that extreme. But I am grateful to have finally put this nightmare behind me. Now, the reward's ever so slightly different to what I got last time. This looks familiar. So Bedivere has joined the court, and he is an Old Faith Knight with the Blood Oath, which grants him +1 loyalty for every other Old Faith hero in the round table. And I believe that's court positions, not just the company down the bottom here. He also has Talented, which means that learning active skills only cost 1 skill point instead of 2. However, you see here he has a negative amount of skill points, which is very odd. Now, I did a lot of micromanaging. Lady Guinevere is healing from her injury, which is great. We have a new world event. There is an accursed place in the heart of the wasteland, wherein the forgotten past dragons and giants waged a bloody battle. The druids believe the dragons are still alive in a sense. Their bones were infused with ancient magic that binds their souls to Avalon. The Picts use the bones for bloody rituals, and the vengeful spirits of the dragons are still poisoning the land, even after my victory. The druids asked for my help to send a knight and try to reconcile the vengeful spirits. I should choose my champion carefully. These spirits are still faithful to their ancient ways, so I should absolutely send someone who worships the old faith. And I would like to take Guinevere on the next mission, so I'll just send Lady Isolde. And there we go. Now, back in court, I took a look at all these knights and thought it would be very nice to have Sir Bedivere in our company. Now, we have Sir Kay here, who is falling rather behind on the leveling front. If he levels training in the training ground after our next mission, he will be a mere 2 levels behind most of our main company members, and he's never really going to catch up. Those of you familiar with Arthurian legend will probably remember that Sir Kay was a boastful and arrogant knight. He was the king's herald and only held that position because he was his foster brother or half-brother, being Sir Ector's son, or some such. And he was a bully. He liked to throw his weight around, he was callous, he was crude, he was a very bad herald. And while he would pick on people, he'd usually get his just desserts, you know, get a broken nose or something and feel miserable, and everyone had a good laugh at that. Well, there's Sir Kay being an idiot again. We have 3 champions. We have Sir Kay, Sir Balan, and Sir Lanvil. Sir Balan is a boon to the court, a magnificent member. We should utilize him more often. Sir Lanvil is not a traditional character that I remember. He seems to be one of the ones created, possibly. Actually, no, I think there might be something to him, but he's still doesn't seem like he's going to be very useful. He'll train a lot, but if he's available for a mission, which means not healing or training, you know, or anything else, and we leave him behind in the castle, he will lose loyalty every time, and it will just decrease. He does improve our armor regeneration when resting a bit, but that's about it. And there are probably some other champions, such as Sir Lancelot, who would be incredibly useful to have instead later on. Also, Sir Bors is a good friend of Sir Lancelot. And we should make space for people. We're probably going to let Sir Lanval go when he's healed of his injuries. And Sir Kay really isn't doing anything particularly special. I mean, he's not holding any extremely useful items. So I'll just pull him out of training. He has a much weaker blood tie to Sir Mordred than he does to King Arthur, so we'll just send him on his way. He can still stay around court and do stuff, and that will free up a court position as well. Away you go, good Sir Knight. You have been a great service to us, but your service has come to an end. And I then took Sir Bedivere and dragged him down to here. And as you can see, still a negative skill point total. But then I had an odd bug, so I then gave him a position. And doing that updated his skill value. So originally on the other save he's showing up -3, but then changing a piece of his equipment or updating him to a position on the round table took him down to -1. I think that the talented trait was not being taken into consideration on the aspirant list on my other save, and that taking him off it and then changing him updated it. Now, let's load the save where I've actually done some micromanaging, and I'll talk you through it a little bit. So here we still have Sir Kay. Let's just repeat that. Here we see a -4. Horrific, I know. And yet, once assigned to here, miraculously it goes to -1. I think I assigned all 3 archers to train, and I purchased this upgrade for barracks, which gives an additional skill point to all current and prospective champion and defender heroes. So, what did I get? So Mordred obviously got strong-willed from his level for the mental debuff resistance, and then I gained some kind of skill upgrade. I believe it was sweeping strike. No, killing blow. So regains an action point when killing a unit with the strike skill. I believe he already had sweeping strike. Well, whichever one he had, he now has both. So by spreading his attacks, every separate attack on a different enemy grants him an action point back, and every kill grants him an action point as well, as long as it is with this skill. Sir Balan, I believe, gained steadiness for only loses half armor when in his defensive stance, because currently his armor is rather low. But that reflection is good. We do have a very nice suit of armor here. which we want to give to someone. And Sir Lanville's upgrade... Was it? No, it wasn't this. I think it was one of the bleeding ones, but I'm not sure for certain. As you see, Lady Isolde is off dealing with the spirits. Now, when it comes to missions, we have a mission against the fallen, lost undead. Another mission against the fallen, lost undead. Let's check.
Sir Tywelin, my
Yes.
old nemesis.
The lost,
A former knight of the Round Table, Sir.
the lost, but Sir Geraint. So Geraint and Enid. And then over here we have the chapter, the act end, the finisher, that's probably going to usher us into Act 3.
I had the Excalibur reforged.
Cursed Vassals. And over
Lady
here,
Guinevere received an urgent
Picts.
message from Sir Percival, the Grail Knight who has been wandering in the wilderness for a while. He claims to have found a way to use the power of the Grail.
for this mission, Lady Guinevere is required, and Sir Mordred is not allowed to attend. I believe I'd like to take Guinevere, Sir Tristan against the Picts. Don't want to take Isolde. So Lady Dindrain, Sir Tristan, Guinevere, and as we lack defenders, I want to say Sir Balan, which means one of these two missions, both of which are against the
A
Lost.
former knight of the Round Table, Sir Geraint, send me an
Although this one will grant me additional hero, this one
Sir Tywelin, my old nemesis.
appears to be fighting against Sir Tywelin once again, even though we've defeated him once before. He seems to be a foe who will never rest. I sold a number of items to the merchant. Some weapon runes, some armor runes, quite a few trinkets, and I believe I was going to purchase all of these potions. Really not enough? I'm sure I can change that. So anyway, potions are to be equipped, and then we'll send off on the next mission. However, that's probably enough for now. Because, as I said, a bit of a different episode format, a bit shorter than usual. So I am actually going to end this one here. I'll actually load up a save next time, and I might not have purchased exactly as many potions, but we'll see. Anyway, I will look forward to seeing you all in the very next episode, but for now, I'm going to leave you here. Goodbye everyone, and thank you very much for watching. Please feel free to add any comments down in the comment section down below about the ridiculous cheese required to complete this mission, and I'll see you all next time. Bye bye then.